Pa, 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 pa. Pa, 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 pa.
A huge shout out to the overthinkers.
An overthinker. He watches the show.
To the overthinkers, shout out my fair too.
All of our faith to this is Parker, yeah. Thank you, overthinkers.
Keep inspiring the next generation.
Shout out to the overthinkers. Tando Pela. Much love.
To my overthinkers, mamela ubuchopho ngeke buphume buyakhula nizinja nikhokho yazini as overthink siya overachieve.
I'm stealing that. I've stolen that one. I've stolen it.
Record shorty, as overthinking, say overachiever. Welcome everybody to the Overthinking Football Show. My name is Jordaan Mokwena. I am your host, and this is a place where we absolutely love South African football. We love African football, and every now and then we go overseas. But also, every now and then we get a chance to do both of those things, well, at least the first two, where we love South African football and love what's happening out in Africa. And what was happening out in Africa today, we're going to speak about is Mamelodi Sundowns versus Pyramids FC and the final that happened. Now, remember, the show is on every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, as well as on YouTube. You'll be able to find all of the previous conversations we've had. It's not just reviews, it's not just tactics. We also speak about really big things that are happening within the country and our football, with the hopes that Overthinking Football can lead a little bit of a revolution so we can speak about things a little bit deeper, a little bit juicier, and we can know more about this football that we love. Remember, it's a very interactive show. You are able to jump in and speak to me live right now, but remember, those watching on YouTube, you have to be following me and join me live now on TikTok, where you can press the button at the bottom of the screen that says multi-guest. You click on it, I let you in. You speak to me about whatever it is that that is the topic. It's all about you. Remember, it's going to be 4 panels tonight. Five people per panel, 25 minutes. So each person is going to get 5 minutes to speak. Please, if you could make it 2 minutes of your thoughts and then allow me 2 or 3 minutes in order to ask you a question, that'll be great. And let's please support, let's please respect the other speakers when they come on. What an incredible weekend of football we had. Obviously, starting off with the UEFA Champions League, 5-0. PSG, they battered Inter Milan. And then, of course, Mamelodi Sundowns. I'm sorry, I had to. Okay. So, how that game went, before I let the first panel in, how that game went was very simple. Pyramids FC played 2-1 versus Mamelodi Sundowns. They had 10 shots, 4 on target. The Sundowns had 10 shots, 4 on target. They had 65% possession at Sundowns. They completed 434 passes. Pyramids completed 245. Pyramids had 2 big chances, they missed one. And then Sundowns had 2 big chances and missed one. Goals came from Fiston Mayele in the 23rd minute. And then Sammy in the 56th, only for Reyners to come back and score in the 75th minute, but it turned out to be a little bit too late. Now, just to give you an overall view of what is happening. In total, there were 21 shots, 7 on target from Pyramids. Sundowns had 20 shots, 6 on target. Sundowns completed 835 passes on the 2 legs versus Pyramids 510. There were 4 big chances created by Pyramids and 2 missed. And then, of course, Mamelodi Sundowns created 3 and missed 1. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to be speaking about. We're going to be speaking about, remember, guys, every five minutes, everybody will get 5 minutes to tell me what they're thinking. Starting off, of course, with ASAP Shembe.
Habibi, why am I alone in this life, Habibi?
I'm bringing them, Habibi. I wanted to give you a space, Habibi.
You're trying to set me up, Habibi. I
want to give you a space, Habibi. You don't want 15 minutes, Habibi.
What is this shirt you are wearing, Habibi? You are just young Kasula, Habibi. Young Kasula, Habibi.
Man, every now and then. Yeah.
Man.
Gimnad, man. How do you feel? How are things going?
Mr. Unsi, yeah, I've hugged it out with my colleagues. Yeah, I'm a khoza Spani lang khao lang haka ang shayli kofi fanach mngifike kuseni Espanien, Mr. Unsi.
Ow.
But it's kind of sonke nje
Present colleagues.
Present colleagues, Mr. Uting. Gwangena ama kind regards I few atrinyana. Angsiza ukuthi no siyahli stress, Mr. Uti.
Yeah.
But I will say, Mr. Uti, that the best team won the Champions League, Mr. Uti. The team that deserved to win, the team that took their chances, and the team that showed up took the cup, Mr. Uti.
Yeah.
I think, I don't think it's fair, the amount of blame Coach Cardoso is getting, Mr. Oti. Yeah. As much as he obviously had a part to play in this because his main mandate was to win the Champions League, and he failed at that. But Messi Pexisa, we've been saying this the whole season, you've been saying it the whole season, that Cardoso's mandate was not to come in and change anything at Mamelodi Sundowns, but was to, more than anything, work on the mental toughness and durability of these boys and a few minor tweaks in the defense, Mr. Oti. Okay. And unfortunately, we got to look at a Mamelodi Sundowns that defeated itself again, Mr. Oti. I don't think we've really watched a CAF game, or we've really watched the Mamelodi Sundowns get eliminated by being outplayed. It's always these mistakes yet again, and we always know, CAF is about very fine margins, Mr. Oti. We've been saying this for years. In CAF, the best defense wins, because that means the team with the best level of concentration wins. And we've seen Mamelodi Sundowns sort of play within themselves and sort of eliminate themselves year and again. And yesterday was the same thing. And I don't know if it's because the team is trying to over-engineer the process of winning a CAF, or they've made it their god to the point that because they've failed so many times, that when they come face to face with the demon, they feel that they are, I think, mentally, man, it's a mental thing. I don't think there's any tactic that Coach Cardoso would have played or could have put on field that would have changed anything. I don't even think if it was a different coach, we would have won yesterday, Mr. Utsi. I do think that what's happening at Mamelodi Sundowns with finals in general has always been a mental thing, Mr. Utsi.
Can I ask you, is it a positive? Do you take solace to say that, some teams, Inter Milan got to a final with PSG and got beaten 5-0. Sundowns now, in what they've been doing, it's always a fine margin. Isn't that a positive to maybe say that maybe the road is not as far, or the distance between you and winning is not that far? Or is it just negative because, again, if it's small things that kill you all the time? How do you feel?
I mean, I think the line between winning and losing is very thin, Mr.
Yeah.
Otsi, you know. So either way, man, a loss is a loss, man. Like, it's hard for me to say we're improving, even though we got to a final, which we haven't got into since the last time we won it, you know. But I think the overall objective is weighing a bit heavy on the team and on the club in general, right? And I'm just worried that it's gonna start rendering the league wins, they're going to start being meaningless because now we're overlooking everything that's happening as long as we're not winning a CAF, you know. And I wonder if maybe a complete overhaul. If it's one of those things where an overhaul is needed, where because we're seeing what the noise with about Umshishi. I wonder if it's one of those things where the coach has to come in and sacrifice one of the big names in order to maintain his in order to maintain that whipping stick in the dressing room, you know, because we can sort of see, like, if there's that one player who has an influence over Machita Paya, if they start feeling that that player is being treated unfairly, then it's easy for them to turn on the course. We saw with the Swemangoba, you know what I mean? So I think that, unfortunately, like, there are a lot of things that are going to weigh heavy on this team. I don't think there's any tactical change that could have happened that could have helped Mamelodi Sundowns win yesterday, Mr. Oti. I do think a lot of the things that are happening at Sundowns with regards to the CAF are a mental thing, you know.
Okay. No, Temba, for time, I'm going to jump in. I want to let the Sundowners go, man. Agent, welcome, my brother.
There's a term which they call jihad.
Oh.
Jihad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm bringing jihad today.
Yeah, but no shalom. What's on your mind?
I think, you know, I wish I was a poet, man. Because if I was a poet, maybe I was gonna write about love, man.
Yeah.
Love is such a fickle thing, man. I think it's overrated. I can't believe a mere week back, Cardos was here. This master tactician, the what, you know. Now he's this failure, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
But-
Love is such a fickle thing.
But can I ask you,
Yeah.
before you move on from that point, Agent, is this not a pattern? Because if we remember Rulani and remember on this particular show when we started, a lot of people did not like him when he finished that season.
No, not a lot of people. I didn't like him, some would say.
No, I'm just saying, but isn't it like a pattern now?
No, man. I think the Coach Rulani was a poison chalice, you know. Every when things don't go well at Sundowns, the cult boys come out of the cave to attack. It's like they wait for this moment, you know. They crave for this moment. They crave for things to go wrong so that they can come in and tell us that how great he was, you know. Hence, I've been saying this, that we see some of these wolves in sheep's clothes. They don't belong to us. They belong to the occultic religion of Rulani, you know. They waited for this moment. They craved for this moment. And I'm not bothered by the opposition fans. I'm bothered by the Rulani FC club that has now infiltrated our ranks and now are masquerading as the Zwane fans. But all I can say is Coach Cardoso is a failure. Coach Rulani was a success. You know, Coach Cardoso is not bringing anything to the club. You know, 100 goals. What is 100 goals, man?
Yeah.
What is the final at Sundowns? Those things don't matter because I've done them before, you know. So it's such a difficult thing to process. It's not the loss which is difficult, it's the aftermath, you know. I don't know how to feel about it, you know, about this whole aftermath, especially from the clubs.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I have no complaints about the tactics because those are the tactics that I would have played. And I don't think today is going to be a day we talk tactics. It's going to be a day we talk emotions, you know, and emotions overrated.
I want to speak about those emotions. Do you think that South African teams get overtaken by emotions of the day when they get into these positions? I mean, we've seen Mamelodi Sundowns now shake a little bit. We've seen Pirates start changing the way that they play in the semis. We've seen Chiefs change coaches for a final, for example. What is it about South African teams that makes them different from the North when it comes to this competition?
You know, like I said, today is not a day to talk about tactics, you know, because if you think, because any tactic that I'm going to discuss is going to be discredited. But if you look at Sundowns, it wasn't a case of we are outclassed by the tactics of the day.
Yes.
You know, it was not a case of what happened on the day and we did anything majorly wrong, you know.
Yeah.
You talk of Grant's mistake, you talk of Matthew's mistake, you know, but it is those fine margins that sometimes upset me that they can be turned into such a failure, you know. But like I said, it's going to be a long week, it's going to be a long month. And
Club World Cup is coming. Are there shadows that are following Sundowns?
The rulani shadows are following us, but you're not there, you know. But some of us, we thought we were retired generals, but looks like war is coming and we must come back, you know. And yeah, guys, Carlos is not taking us anywhere, despite him getting the most points. Carlos is not taking us anywhere. Despite that, some coaches have never been to the final. Some coaches have been there for decades and only went to one final. And won it, yes, even after, you know, controversially so. But what can we say? Thank you, Mr. OT.
Okay. Let me go to Conti. Conti, how are you? Welcome.
I'm good. OT, how's it?
Man, I'm okay, man. Conti, tell me about this match. How do you feel about the game? How do you feel about the final as a whole, both legs?
First leg, I think overall we played well, and I wouldn't blame anyone or the technical team for the loss, but I think that first game, particularly Salas, even though he didn't have a good game and the coach made the sub in the first half for Adams, I think it was a good sub, but because we couldn't play our normal game and contain them. That team, it's a bravery team. They play a mid block, not a low block. They're brave, they can attack you, they understand. Remember, this team is a team that has scored 22 goals in CAF. And so they go at you. And the last time I saw a team play like this in a PSL, it was like Vert and the old Gavin hand, and even a Kaizer Chiefs that used to impose, that used to play 4-4-2, where you'd have Doctor on the right putting those crosses. Nowadays, we don't see teams in the PSL playing those crosses, using the set pieces, that type of football. We miss it in the PSL. And I think that element, it's one element that us as Mamelodi Sundowns, or let me say some of the PSL teams, we cannot deal with such type of kind of football. Even Orlando Pirates struggled with those type of football in the air. So I think if we can have sort of be exposed more to that type of football, we will also do well. But I think as well in the second leg, I will talk about the Tembazwane factor after. But in the second leg, I think the Tembazwane factor, I think we needed him more in the first leg where we put in Unneo Mahema in the last 10-15 minutes. But because at the stadium, you could see that the fans were singing. But, you know, Utembazwane, that song, when he comes in, Utembazwane, he was going to electrify the fans and he was going to calm the game down. In the first leg, I believe that we needed him much more than in the second leg. In the second leg, yes, maybe we could have maybe a penalty through him, or he could unlock, because those guys, you know, in the last 20-15 minutes, they played with 5-6 defenders at the back. But to be fair and honest, Pyramids wanted it more. They wanted it more than us. And my last point, OT, I just want to talk about the first goal that Pyramids score. Mudiba doesn't tackle. and then you look at who passed the ball. It was
Ibi.
Fiston Maela.
Oh,
He
Maele, yes,
goes-
Maele, yes, yeah.
Fiston Maela goes, takes the run. But who was marking Maela at that point? It's Libusa. Libusa makes a second mistake. He doesn't even look where's Maela. He goes to his box. And then Grant Kekana, I don't know where his mind is, what he's thinking, or whether he was trying to pass Mokwena. He doesn't clear the ball. I mean, even my wife just says, how does this guy pass the ball like that in the box? You know, you've done analysis that this is a team that they score in the box. They've scored 22 goals, but you don't clear. That's a schoolboy primary mistake. You can't blame Cardoso for that. How does Cardoso get involved in that mistake? And the miss that Matthews made, I mean, he's played Kuku, he's gone to Dortmund, he's played at Ajax. You know, when a keeper comes out like that, you put the ball a little bit higher, a finesse.
Yeah.
So overall, I think we did not lose because of the tactics. We lost because of our mistake and the chances that we missed.
Very quickly, 30 seconds. Isn't that the story? That and how do you fix that? Very quickly.
How do we fix that? For me, I think we should keep Ukadoso for another season. Allow the coach to have his full season. And if he wants to add 1 or 2 or 3 of his players, let's give him the chance. We've never reached the final in 9 years. I think we should... for me, I think Khoza has done well when he played with Grant Kekana at the back. Players like Abu Khoza, they should be trusted more. And I would like to see the young Abu Mabena coming up and being trusted. But I think Sundowns, even when you look at the last 2-3 seasons, they didn't lose because of tactics. They lost because we can't get the game throughout. So it's that concentration level that we miss. But we almost there, OT. Next 2-3 seasons, I believe we will get a star. And lastly, I think...
Very quickly,
lastly, South African fans, we need also to learn and have experience in Africa, how African football is played. This nice football, Tembisa football, Felix games, it's not going to work.
For time over the champion, let me bring in Tyler. Tyler, welcome to the show. How are you?
Yes, OT. How are you, OT?
I'm okay, man, Tyler. Tyler, tell me about this game, man. Yo, 2-1, 3-2 on aggregate.
Yes, OT. If you remember on OT, when this guy came, what I said to the members in the group, I said he's not going to win it. I even made a bet to one of the guys there. I watched this guy first 5 games.
Yeah.
And then you remember you even introduced about a topic about the soul of a team lost, right? It was emanating from the fact that we can see how is Sundowns is playing recently. You go and watch the last 5 games Zabo in the PSL. Obviously in the team PSL they don't have a competition. Go to CAF and watch before the final. There are 5 games. I don't think they've won any game. It was just 1-1. They draw at home. They go up to the north. MC Alga, they drew. Ahly, they drew. Those things tells you in OT. And then look at how they score against Ahly. They didn't really create chances, right? They score based on a mistake by a defender, right? And you watch the first leg, the first leg in South Africa.
Yeah.
Guys, whether you like it or not, I've seen your show on YouTube. You've asked a question if Temazwane is a distraction for Sundowns. He's not. He's quality. You know, the reason we are calling for Temazwane, we know what that guy can do. He took Hugo Bruce to semi-finals for the Bafana. It was Temazwane who put him there. So you can never now. You can't ask us to forget all of that. The work that guy has done for the club and the national team, and we know the experience and the skill Temazwane has. But coming back to this game, I think Coach Cardoso has failed those players.
Yeah.
Poor technique, wrong substitutions.
Yeah.
You can see when anyone can see, even women can see that these people, they are pressing high, right? They are pressing high. Why? They don't allow you for you to play. They know you play the ball from the back. They know you play tiki-taka football. They press high. They put more players in the midfield, and one midfielder comes in and join. When one midfielder comes in and join the press, a defender comes and cheat in to join to close the midfield, because they know you play from the midfield. So what do you do as a coach? You've seen it in the first leg. They've been doing that. They close you. They close all the spacing. What do you do as a coach? When a coach, what is the senior? What's the name of the senior coach there?
Mang Steve Compella.
Steve Compella. Can't you see what's happening? You know the effect of Mshishi. Why not advise this guy and say, put this guy? Because when you have this guy, you'll be able to go, you come out of that press. You'll be able to play quick football and come out of the press. And
but Tyler, can I play devil's advocate for a little bit?
Yeah.
I hear what we're saying about that and Mshishi's possible impact on the game. But we've watched the CAF Champions League. Very rarely is the CAF Champions League a dominance type of thing. I mean, Pyramids won by mistakes today. They won by mistakes, you could argue, versus Pirates. Yeah?
No, it's not mistakes. It's how they've planned against you.
No, but the plan didn't give them the goals. Grant Kekana gave them the goals where they lost to Wydad. Mbala literally hit an own goal. It's not like Pyramids scored 4 goals from their play. Can't we say that?
They forced them to make those mistakes because it's a press. The fact that that guy made that mistake, he could see there's a player coming. It was a press on OT. You press them high. Let me pretend as if I'm a pyramid coach now. I'm talking to my player. Guys, press them high because they play the ball from the back. When you press them high, you're forcing them to kick long balls. When they kick long balls, you win those long balls. You press them high, force them to make mistakes. Press them high, force them to make Ilenduka so that you can kick them in. They're not used to dealing with long balls. Their league, PSL is not that type of a league. They play. They are not used to play
20 seconds.
Long balls. OT. That was the Duga with OT. It was the plan.
Marataila, 90 plus 4. 90 plus 4 first leg. Second leg, Kekana, 2 mistakes. Matthews misses a 1-on-1. Can we really say that Pyramids was dominant?
Whoever brought Matthews and Sales in this team is also to be blamed. And that goes to Flemingberg. Those guys don't deserve to play for Sundowns. Both of them.
For time I want to jump in. Let me go to Usinje. CJ, showstopper, welcome.
Mr. OT. No, don't worry. I'm going to be very quick. Sundowns is not worth me speaking about them for 5 minutes. First and foremost, Mr. OT, congratulations. Beautiful episode that you did with Mrs. Amanda. Lovely. I love it. Guys, please watch the show. Share it as much as you can. Put it on your WhatsApp status, social platforms. That it blows up. And secondly, Mr. OT, I knew that when you held this lapel mic on Jessica Butawong, merchandise is gonna pop.
There will be signs. Kadala.
There will be signs. There will be signs, Mr. OT. Thirdly, Mr. OT, I did not know that when Sundowns loses, sizawuzwa indaba, Mr. OT. I never knew good amadoda here on this show and their office husbands. Sibamelo ASAP, yes, saying that they were consoled, made D by their office husbands. They are saying this live. Do these people know that the show, Mr. Oti, is broadcast in many social platforms? Facebook, TikTok. A man is saying, my office husband was there for me.
Office wife.
Mr. Oti, going back to this game, Sundowns were exposed by goals that came from their weaknesses that we keep on pointing out on this show on a daily basis. Aubrey was exposed. The left-hand side was costed them this game.
Yep.
Tebucho's lack of defensive awareness costed them this game. Guy is good offensively, but as a 6, he lacks defensive abilities and awarenesses. This is why someone came Ekwapeni and scored the first goal. Look at the second goal. We've always said the Sundowns is not I'm Nandanga when it comes to defending set pieces.
Yeah.
And that shows you that the pyramid coach studied them very well. And we have to give them credit for that. And I want to agree with what Tyler opened up with to say, we are not talking about the Sundowns that bulldozed its way to the final, that dominated its way to the final. We talk about Sundowns that were cautious in their wins and they did the bare minimal just to get over the line. Okay. And unfortunately, we are talking about a pyramid that pulled out all the stops to go to the final. Now you've got two teams that are in the same stage, arrived in the same stage with two different mentality because they've taken two different routes. You can even see from the pyramid coach, he came there dressed as a coach in his track suits, he's here. And the Sundowns coach who kokabo chino pants, nabo suit, nabo nice non. He's ready for the after game, the interviews to be on the big stage and the what. Kokaba Louis Vuitton suit and all of them, the coaching staff, they are not there. Football, fashion show, and that's the result of it. The mentality of it is that they were not there for the game.
Can I ask you a different mentality question?
So right.
Do you think that pyramids being new in this, sometimes when you're new in a tournament, you don't think. There's no thinking, man. You come. Remember with us, we got to a final in a similar fashion where it's like, man, we're just getting to go. Do you think that influences the game, especially knowing that Sundowns, this is maybe try number 9? Do those things weigh on how the game goes?
No. There's a difference, Mr. Oti, between us. We went to the final with DDC players. We went to the final with players that were playing DDC the past year. We didn't go there with expensive players and so on, and important players from different countries and so on. But here's the thing: you have to take it. And secondly, we did not go to the CAF final with a team that was doing well in the domestic league.
Yeah, that's true.
Pyramid were on top of the Egyptian league for a very long time. They were doing very well until they even now they pushed it to the final. The only difference is 2 points. So that tells you that the football they've been playing, they've been doing well in terms of the long races and the long games. They know what they wanted, and they did earmark this trophy. And Coach Manqoba said this even before he left, that you are talking about a pyramid that has earmarked this because you see it in the build-up of how they have landed to the CAF stage. Even how the hunger they showed against Pirates, it demonstrated what these people want, how much this star means to them. That's and Shem, I like it, Shem. It was a battle of abandoned billionaires. It was one of those things where Inghanes billionaires are sparring at each other, and it was nice to see Nabo 50 fans, Nabo 50 fans, they came together and they tried to make this thing electrifying, but unfortunately it did not arrive there because there's one thing that you can't buy, Mr. Oti, is fans.
For times, DJ.
Unfortunately, let me end, Mr. Oti, by saying nice show, nice merchandise. Sorini, man. South Tawana, Sorini.
Let me bring it. Okay, guys, question for the comments, actually. How much is mentality part of this, and how much does Sundowns' history play in this? Because, sometimes, man, you can make something so big in your mind, and when you're finally facing that thing, I saw Abu Ribeiro making phantom passes and losing balls in the first 20 minutes. Even the Grand Kekana mistake is uncharacteristic of Mamelodi Sundowns. Do we feel that plays into it? That on one side, you had a team that for 9 years they've been trying this thing. They've changed coaches, they've changed how they've structured, they've changed all of these things to try win this, versus the team that is going, you know what, guys, one shot, one opportunity. We don't have time to be changing tactics. We don't have time to be doing all of these different things. We just need to go there and play 110%. How much do you think that affected the game? That is a question for the comments. Let me bring in Ungocha. Ungocha, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. I want Sundowns need to feel like the rest of us at times. Uguti, you can purchase whatever and have whatever, but on the day you have to show up. You have to show up on the day. They played like a team who are too cautious. So much they didn't want to lose. They played like they didn't want to lose. Like they knew that, yes, we know we're going to score. Uguti didn't know when. Yeah, but and that showed in especially in the first leg. You had the game in control instead of saying, you know what, now let's rather, I know that a Pitso would have brought a lot of defensive players in the last few minutes. I know that a Rulani would also panic, and Mangoba would have made sure he brings in because those are mature coaches who understand the stage. How we are leading, we can't lose this one. And would have closed shop, and Maela would have run his legs out. And the game would have been won. Even if they lost this one 2-1 and won the other one, they would have made their way to say, okay, at least go to penalties or whatever. That's number one. The mentality that Sundowns have been having, they were scared of this thing. They've made this thing become bigger than the stage itself.
Yes.
They know every single player. They put it in their mind. What he has in, we've come here. We've been disappointed so many times. They were scared. Even when they have no reason to be scared, they should have gone all out and scored a lot of goals. Even in the previous game. And they came out of character. I saw Ribeiro trying to turn around and do so many things by himself. I'm like, Aibo, God, he doesn't have teammates this one. He was trying too much by himself, and he was so far away from the box that even the amount of things that he can do, you can't do them so away from the next player. Having said that, Motaung is a top player, that one. I watched the other guy play in the same position in the finals of the UEFA, and I keep on comparing him to Motaung. If Motaung was picking the ball out of someone's legs many times during the game, just picks it up and comes back, while everyone was closing their eyes, which one-on-one, and just go there, pick the ball up. He needs to go. He needs to go. There's no way. That's the best player in the PSL, which sometimes the Sundowns fans doubt it, and no one hypes him up enough. That one is the best player we have right now. Mshishi's good, but Mshishi's not better than Motaung. I said you can hit me if you want to, right? It's complicated when a team knows how to play, but forgets how to play when they have to show their best. They were not forced to not play the way they normally play. They were not forced. Those players were scared. The numbers were pulled out. You can't tell me, Guti, you're complaining, Guti, Motiba was not having his best game, but Motiba was thrown in on the final in his first game. He never even had a warm-up game before. This was too much panic for a coach who we think understands his teams better. But
Gotcha, isn't that the issue? Especially with South African teams. I want to speak about South African teams. Isn't that an issue that it seems sometimes that our teams, it's sort of like they get too smart when they get to this place. They want to do funny things and, extra smart things and bring in this and do that and Mutiba instead of Zwane and what. Isn't that, man, part of the issue here?
It's not being used to the occasion. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It creates panic.
Yeah.
Pirates, in fact, when we get to that occasion, you don't change your starting lineup. You keep your same starting lineup. You play the way that you have been playing so that the players don't panic. Every single player that's next, they knows who's next, who's right on my left-hand side, on my right-hand side, who's behind me, who's closing the spaces. They know it before the final. But now if they have to have new anxiety of, okay, this one, I'm not sure what he's not used to being here. So what do we do? All of a sudden, there was three, different strikers. There's a tall striker who need crosses. No one's put a cross there. Why? Hey, guys. It was panic. It was panic. It was like watching Trump trying to show us proof of the G side. That we realized,
What time I'm going to jump in? Let me bring in Stellenbosch, my brother.
Welcome, OT. How are you doing?
I'm okay, man. I'm a fan of football. I'm out of office. We even wear the jerseys now. Stellenbosch, tell me, how do you feel about this game?
It's var. Re thoma ka o dumedisha panel ke dumedisha ba di comments. Look, it's bittersweet for me because it brings me back to 2021 when Chiefs were like, what's our game? We'll go to the final. Even it's one leg, and we lost. Some even called it a horror movie. We were laughed at to come nice, And I thought, that day is coming. And thank you, Fistos on my yele.
Give Fistos. That's why give Fistos. Retlamutisa kama be Fistos.
Fistos my yele. Yes. No, you know what? Gleboga grand kikana amufaka assist. Beautiful. And he just placed it on the bottom corner. Oh, beautiful. Ogar Peter Jury should have just commentated at that, just that goal alone.
Yeah,
but then I must say, as a South African, I'm disappointed.
Okay.
But then, once again, and I once said this in a live, I said, once your team loses, even though there are problems there, azopuma maqiniso to say, hey. Yavela. And what happened now is that, like, I look at the first half. And I look at the first half in the sense that you could see the lineup.
Yeah.
I asked Sundowns fans, is this a Cardoso lineup? A very attacking 4-3-3, barring the fact that Zwane is not there. But this is it a Cardoso lineup, or is it a lineup that was put for vibes? He was under pressure to say, we want to attack. I'm sure Mambushi, they were like, hey, you want to start? North African pragmatism. No. Try and attack. And Pyramids pressed, especially that midfield, because every time the ball went into that midfield, it seemed like they were under pressure and there were a lot of wayward passes that were happening. Like there were no balls. Imagine your first shot at goal, not even on target, or your first shot at goal was that Matthews chance. And that only took more than 40 minutes. To me, to a lot of people that sort of watch Sundowns or even watch highlights or even whoever is just bantering around will realize, alright, man, this is very fine. You can give compliment to Pyramids, but when you look at Sundowns, you're like, man, this is not the Sundowns we know. And funny enough, they lost on a Sunday, and people are talking about soul. And then I'll bring a soul, soul, but it almost doesn't count. Almost doesn't count. Heartbreak.
How do they get over this hump? Because for me, I look at it and I say, it seems like the North knows what the North is doing. And Rona, when we get there, for some reason, it's always a mistake. It's always a tactical error. It's always a change that should have been made that wasn't made. Is it a South African problem? Oh, it's also about now I want to go play beautiful football at a time when maybe I shouldn't go play beautiful football. Is this a South African problem?
If you say South African problem, you can go back to 2022 qualifiers when we played Ghana. Literally, we knew what we needed to do. And then once that penalty came, you could see there was nothing, there was no way you could see that these guys are going to come back. I'll even go back further. AFCON 2021, all we needed to do was beat Sudan, or even just draw. And then suddenly, just before halftime, we were 2-0 down. And then suddenly, Gura Ahona plan. You know, like so. But what I could say, and this is my question, I would like to bring to everybody: that do you think that Mamelodi Sundowns has plateaued? That is a question that we all need to ask. That have we plateaued? Is this it? And if so, what do you do? Because now, hey, memory lane Monday, throwback Tuesday, Pitso, some would even want to bring Ted Dumitru. I'm just, you know, but like, or Paul Doleza. Like that's how now we're thinking, ish, we're plateaued. How do we go?
Gamondi's there.
Yeah, Gamondi. Even Gordon Igerson. But okay, no, Nasi collab. But yeah, like I said, then the question becomes, what do you do from there? Because like you said, it was moments. But I think even in such a game like that, it would have tested not only their character, but the leadership in senior players. And Sharp, we can talk about Zwane. Then if we're questioning Cardoso about Zwane, we should also question Cardoso about Mutiba. Mutiba, the first game.
Mutiba, the striker, yes, yeah.
Yes, Lebo Mutiba. First game is a final where we all doubted, and surely there for match fitness or just getting a feel of just getting match ready is not there.
Yeah.
It was not there. So why put him? Why? But then
for time.
Yeah.
For time over a champion. Guys, plateaued means you've reached the limit. So, and if you look at a graph, if it keeps going up, that's a rise. Once it does this and it stays there, that's a plateau. So basically, we're saying that Mamelodi Sundowns, maybe this is their level. Maybe they'll stay at this level. Maybe, prize made 3 semi-finalists. That is their level. They've plateaued a little bit there. Let me see what Ongama is saying. Ongama, can you unmute there? Are you able to unmute? Oh, there we go. Ongam, tell me about this game, man. Welcome.
I'm good, Oti. Obviously, I'm happy when Oti. First of all, I'm happy that the Marawa side didn't win.
South Africans.
Loto.
Patriotism.
South African is bafana. GNU. So supporting your GNU team. Okay, I just spoke my GNU and Oti. You know what I observed the Black game when I was looking at Mamelodi Sundowns, I was looking at Kaizer Chiefs under pressure that is willing to end a trophy drought in 10 years, making unnecessary mistakes, getting goals unnecessary, making mistakes with senior players unnecessary. I was like, no man, this thing a pressure factor is actually applying now with Mamelodi Sundowns. Mamelodi Sundowns wanted this CAF Champions League in such an extent that it was a pressure factor that this thing is in demand. It's wanted in Chlorocop. So when this thing is wanted, the body is willing to react in certain situations, but the actions that are happening in the field are not responding. So the pressure factor that was happening within Kaizer Chiefs, I saw it in Mamelodi Sundowns. When Abo Lucas Ribeiro making turnovers, when Lendoga losing balls unnecessary, Abo Allende losing balls unnecessary in the midfield, returning the ball positions unnecessary. That is the pressure, OT. That was exactly what I was looking when Kaizer Chiefs were under pressure. That thing of knowing 10 years without a trophy, 9 years without a trophy. Players, when they know that there is a demand of delivering something, they tend to do mistakes. But when the players, let me make an example, like Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch was not, there was no one that was pressurizing them. They were playing their normal game. They were almost on the final because they were playing their normal game and enjoying the tournament. When they reach those tournaments, it may be in the finals. I'll make an example like coach of under 20. Coach of under 20, who's this coach? Coach.
Coach David. Why am I forgetting? Kinotwane. Anyway, go on. We'll get it in the comments. Mtaga. Is it Mtaga?
Yeah.
Raymond Mtaga. So Raymond Mtaga, yes. Sorry.
I was listening to his presser about the tournament that they played. The plan of the tournament was just to pass the group stages. When
Yeah.
we're out of the group stages, we say we'll take one game at a time. We'll see where it ends. The more the tournament, when they're in the semi-final, they say, no, man, we can try this thing. We can get into the finals. When they get into the finals, they say, no, man, we can do this thing. We can win into the finals. So I think the strategy that needs to come into the players' mentality when we are going into the tournament with the OT, we need to not put pressures into the players' OT. We need to tell the players, just go into at least to the group stages. When you are done into the group stages, let's try and see what we can do after the group stages. We will see when we go into the final, we can break it and win the final, because when our players,
Yeah.
yes,
No.
when our players are in demand of something,
Yeah. There's 30 seconds. I want to ask you, if Sundowns had won other trophies, let's say they were able to win the Nedbank Cup or the MTN 8 along with the league, do you think that changes anything for the Champions League? Last 30 seconds.
you know, OT, no matter how much you can win, Sundowns is in demand of CAF Champions League. Players knows that. No more I win a league, no more I win CAF Champions League, it's in demand. So it was necessary for them. It's like Kaizer Chiefs winning those plastic trophies. The message was clear even in the fans. 10 years without a trophy. Even in the stadiums, Nabi, this is our last chance to win a trophy. Even the players knows that this is the only way we can survive. So the more the pressure creeps in, they know that even if we can go in that way, we don't go out on that door, it's a child for us. So it's a pressure factor. Thanks,
guys, thank you, Ngama. Let me go to Mkomto. Welcome to the show. How are you?
It's OT. How's it, my man?
I'm good, man. Mkomto, tell me a little bit about this game. How did you feel about everything that has happened?
Yeah, Australia OT. Australia silungsela. Pyramids didn't win that match by mistakes, ne? Asilungsela. They didn't. You and I know very well, Guti, football is a game of chances. You take your chances, you win the match. Sundowns didn't score any own goal there. They didn't. A better team made sure that they convert their chances and then they won. That's it. I think Ngocha said it. Ngocha said you need to show up in matches like this. If you show up, it's going to yield results. So if Sundowns didn't, we all know they didn't. They didn't show up. They didn't show up in the first leg. They didn't show up in the second leg. And I keep emphasizing, OT, I don't know why other people are in denial. It's the tactics of the coach. These are still the same players, Mamelodi Sundowns players that we know. This is the quality that we still have at Mamelodi Sundowns. And you want to deny that it's not the tactics of the coach, it's fine. We can move on. Let me ask this, OT. Maybe you're going to assist me with this one.
Okay.
When Sundowns was playing the semi-final in Cairo, they were down 1-0. Cardoso needed Mshishi to play there in that semi-final, in the second leg. He needed him to play there. Why didn't he put him in the final? You needed him to play in the semi-final against Ahly. You were down 1-0, and then you were like, no, let me put in Mshishi. Seemingly, you know he's fit. You know he's one of the best players. Why are we being in denial that the coach made blunders in this final? It's evident to everyone that he made so many mistakes in this final. And I don't know if it's the arrogance, because he doesn't seem to me like it's the arrogant type, because he needs to understand that when this is the quality player that the team has, and then he's able to show up in occasions like this, then use him. It could be to your advantage as a coach as well. It would assist you. Now everyone is pointing a finger at you and saying, coach, we are confused. What are you doing? That's why I'm saying to you, maybe you can make me understand why you needed him in the semi-final when you were down 1-0, but in the final, you're not needing him anymore. What did he do?
Do you know what it is, Mpo? And again, I keep emphasizing this thing when I speak about the Champions League. when you try and be too smart, you know, sometimes our coaches, all of them, Rulani even, they think they're playing chess when they get there, and they think, no, this one's going to be expecting this thing, therefore I'm going to bring in somebody else and try catch them off guard. Like they try and get too smart when they get here. I don't know if that's maybe something closer to an answer.
It is. It is. You're correct. You are very good. You know, when you have an abundance of that quality, I can understand sometimes you can make mistakes like this. Because I'm like, I was so confused. I'm not going to lie to you. Because I was like, you have everyone that you can use in this match. You have all the quality to use. You are correct when you're saying they tend to, you know, to do things that are just out of the ordinary. And everybody is now confused with our coach. From group stages, you are playing so well. We can see the way you play. You know, your formation is so good. All of a sudden, we are all confused. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to win this thing, or you're trying to confuse yourself? So we need to be honest.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Oti.
No, thank you so much, Mko. Let me go to Kawe. Kawe, welcome to the show. How are you? Let me just see if I can help you unmute there. There we go.
Hey, Putami kunjani?
Man, mina ngimnandi mara ngizwa abantu bayakhala. Tell me about this game. Welcome. How do you feel about the game?
My bro, I feel like Cardoso hates us.
Yeah.
But that hate starts from Flemingberg.
Okay.
I mean, Flemingberg brought the guy with such poor stats.
Okay.
Of him. That guy has never won anything as a coach.
Okay.
But then Flemingberg decided to bring him to Sundowns. The same Sundowns that wants to win CAF. I've been always telling people, OT, that Sundowns is on autopilot. I mean, Cardoso is clueless, but fortunately, he got players with a winning mentality.
Okay.
But at some point, that winning mentality will show that they don't have a coach. I mean, I just told you now. On the semi-final, he saw that he needed Zwane. Zwane came in. Zwane did the job. Then what changed now in the final?
Yeah.
And then the funny part, how can you bring Motiba, who spent almost 6 months without playing? You take out Reyners, who just scored the goal, and you put a defensive striker. How is that possible? Even again at the back, that combination of Grant and Lebusa has never worked, bruh. I'm still saying he was supposed to bring Mvala, because now Mvala is back and he's fit. Mvala can do mistakes at times, but he makes every defender around him look good.
Okay.
Remember when Mvala played with Ngezana in the national team? Everybody was like, Ngezana has improved. And then Mvala got injured. The following game, what did Ngezana do?
Yeah.
So, man, Cardoso siphuzile, man. Cardoso siphuzile.
Mara Buza, then I know we're talking about Cardoso like this, Mara. Okay, a lot of people have spoken about Rulani in this sense. Do you think that the Rulani would have done better in this game?
Rulani would have done better, bro. Even Mangoba would have done better. Even Pitso. Because they know the quality that Mshishi has. You know, when Mshishi is on the field, even other players, they get the confidence.
Okay. Because
they know that, okay, if I pass Mshishi will not lose the ball. Mshishi will know when to pass the ball, will know how to weigh the pass of the ball. Look at the game. Okay, I know some will say it was just Makesi, but you know, those passes that Mshishi was doing there in that game show that Mshishi is back and his feet. He was running to the spaces, collecting the ball, passing the ball, going forward.
So then, let me ask you then. We're calling for Mshishi to come in, and it could be a valid call for Mshishi to come in. But doesn't that also add to the pressure of the coach? Because throughout the week, you're hearing about Mshishi. Mshishi should come in. Mshishi should come in. Do you think that also maybe might play a role in the coach maybe not selecting Mshishi? You know, maybe wanting to show that his side can win. Maybe, you know, maybe he would have played Mshishi anyway, but now throughout the week, there's been so much talk. Do you think that that affects anything, or do you just think that Cardoso is the issue?
Then that means Cardoso is arrogant because he knows, you know, outing. It's better to lose the game with Mshishi on the field than losing the game with Mshishi on the bench. Because everybody will say to you, why not Mshishi? Then to take that pressure out of your shoulders, then put him on Mshishi. Then we can say, okay, you know, you tried your best, then you lost. It wasn't our day. But you introduce Sales, who did nothing. You introduce Motiba, who spent 6 months not playing.
Yeah.
Then what says about you as a coach? What does it say? Says you about no, bruh. It's like he didn't profile his players before he gets to Sundowns.
For time, I'm gonna jump in just for time's sake. Guys, thank you to everybody that's on right now. If you have not followed, please follow. If you have not sent a like, send a ton of likes. It's free. Just tap the screen. And then, of course, if you can send some gifts, man, send some gifts. Shout out to Pablo, Papa Josi, Scott, Kapelani, Sakra. Thank you so much for the gifts on that side. Don't forget to follow. My podcast is out on YouTube. My podcast where I tell you my thoughts about all of this stuff. Today is about you guys when it's live. You can watch it on YouTube if you've come in late. Okay, before I go too far, I just want to say, guys, that, you know, now I told you guys last week that it felt like Sundowns was overthinking already. Like it felt like even fan-wise, speaking about Mshishi, all of that stuff. I think sometimes when we get into these places, we tend to overhype ourselves and start asking questions of ourselves. Again, I'm not saying that Pyramids didn't come with a tactical plan. What I'm saying is, guys, Pyramids didn't win because Pyramids was playing incredible football and they outplayed Sundowns. They won because they took advantage of two mistakes. What do I always say here on this show? CAF Champions League is not about going out and outplaying somebody or dominating. It's two things. Can you make the least mistakes, and can you take advantage of mistakes? You know what happens with our South African teams most of the time when they get to those places? They start taking. You start making. Rulani froze in the game. When he was meant to make some subs that can close down some, he froze. Coach Cardoso, what do we know of Coach Cardoso? 30 minutes in, he usually makes a change. If he sees something is working, we used to give him credit because he's brave. That same guy froze. So maybe we should start asking those questions, because let's tell the biggest truth. Let's tell the biggest truth from this. The biggest truth is that this is Mamelodi Sundowns' second CAF Champions League final. They've only had two. So this is the first time for a lot of people. Whether you've been in the semis, whether you've been the final is a completely different thing. So are we downplaying, question for the comments, are we downplaying that effect? That actually, guys, Lavant Lava, they haven't been playing this thing at this level of the final for so long. So sometimes you'll get there and there'll be an issue because, Shem, you are inexperienced in a final. And maybe you understand Mamelodi Sundowns bringing in Cardoso, because unfortunately, Cardoso's literally got 2 finals in a row right now. He's got he's got as many finals under his belt as Sundowns has in its career in this tournament. So I think, as I always said, the problem with Sundowns and the Champions League, for me personally, it's not the coach, it's not the tactics, it's not the beauty, it's not the soul, it's not the defensive tactics, it's not the subs, it's not any of those things for me. For me, it's about here. Do you understand? Fisted Maela played 90 minutes. He was dead. He was tired towards the end. So that's why I'm like, hey, this is going to be very interesting. But for time's sake, Mtakaba, welcome. How are you?
Hey, Putu kunjani?
Man, hey, imnandi but na sizwa masandawana yakhala man.
Hey, ngiyakubona bakuzamile awusemuhle nje yakufaka waphathi bathi ngesikini waphathini.
Awungawari kuzofika we usuthu. Nizobona nje ngisijika.
Sibonga ukwina kweCup, awina iCup bavele bagaxabeza nje ngemerchandise.
Awu. Sawini Cup nintwana yami enganandaba neChiefs yathi hey I want a jersey ngathi awu. Job done, job well done. Takamama, uthini ngale game man?
Kunzima kuba umuntu wasePitori lamalanga le isenze izolo bafila njengoThabo Maputla yabona uThabo Maputla uhlushwa umfazi or makuthi ujolwa inyathi waba ujolwa inyathi ukuthi ipain yakho njani. Hey kodwa sizathini ibhola mntakababa bathi ukujabula kuyashintshana kodwa ngeke sithathe inyembezi abantu sihlekise ngazo cha.
Yeah.
Yes, singaba ndawonye bafowethu. Bathini manje bakushoniwe kwehlanga lingehlanga kodwa hayi lana sothini bafowethu hayi cha. Senza uzama unyaka ozayo. Engathanda ukusho nje kuqala ukuthi iSundowns ayivamisanga ukunika abadlali bayo like i-extension ye-1 year.
Yeah.
They've never done it since isikhathi esiningi nje uhlopha in charge. They've never extended the contract of a player by 1 year.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they've done that ngomshishi. So, which means it's a sign. Wonke laba abafuna umshishi, they must start now accepting ukuthi his days are numbered there because it seems like uTA Fleming akayiboni future ngayo phambili.
Okay.
So uqala manje ubamukela nje ukuthi umshishi vele cha insuku zakhe sezinciphile lapha ehloko. Kuzoba ukuqala kokujabula kuma-Sundowns amaningi kodwa nje ngokomdlalo man asingakhali kakhulu kwenzeke ngendlela kumele kwenze ngakhona. You know sometimes if you don't win i-home game yakho already you are under pressure when playing away, and especially if you're going to play against a team njenge-Pyramid of which is playing a totally different ball as compared to Ahly nabo Esperance laba badlala ibhola amakoporosh kuthiwa amakoporosh badlala ibhola i-Pyramids it's a pound for pound, it give you a game at least iyakuvumela udlala. So but by just considering that home goal Loftus ngama last minute, that's where konakale khona kakhulu kodwa asingakhali kakhulu man ngocoach. Ucoach usikhumbule futhi ufike isizini iqalile sibonile futhi nakhona ukuthi uzofika naku-final aqhuka man azange baringi basayo beswatuka man ko-CAF this season. They were just limping abantu engenzima kulamalanga ngesuthu ngizwile uzuya ngeza hey Doze kuluke nje mangathola intombi nje yomsuthu ngizoba kusendleleni phela ngiyadlala khona abantu bangilalele la.
Mina ngiyathula ngizingeni mama dila ngawe akusindaba yami ngibuzanga next mina uziyele khona.
Hey sawuthini phela izamagama nyana lawo so nje akungakhalwa kakhulu bafowethu. Yes kwenzekile lawo maphutha enzekile kumndiba angakhona ukuclear uGrant so Mayela score and then yeah but they were coming right man. Kuku second half they were game they were on. If the subs were good, Sundowns was playing after they've done those subs including sales no Shaluleli. It's just that at that part of the time it's kind of developed Sambile and Pyramids also was good at defending those balls. But if we pay the match amaning beseba wathola within that last 15 minutes. So
Mara, can I ask you something to the point that you spoke about Pyramids playing different football? Do you think that if this final was Sundowns Ahly, it could have been different?
Yo, kubi bore.
Mara, is it easier for Sundowns to play Ahly at this point?
Semi-final ayiwinanga ngithi
iwinile
ngoba ayiwinanga nayo kuphi ikore kuphi ngoba yiwina
angithi makumele kukoriwe yakho nombala washaya on goal yandluli with-it.
leyo game bengeke izibe mnandi kokugcina bengeke siyibukele futhi besobukela ifinal ebhokayo. And the good thing ukuthi at least the blue-eyed boy ye-CAF iyalahle badliwe ngawe goal. Nalaba abamanje baka-president awe goal nabe babhizi bamile bakhawatheli ngiyazi ukuthi sicela umthetho ushintshe next season. Awe goal asayifuni bakudliwe laba nje bonke ne-Ahly. Siyazi ukuthi kuzokwenzeka masinya lokho nje izolunga iCAF nje ngiyabonga mntaka abantu abangamvikeli ukhado right man.
Okay.
Right for akabuye next season and then maybe utlawo besaduka lena ngithi ngezwe phela laba maningi ama-language bathi Sundowns there's ritual is plateau or plateau. Yeah. Kaizer Chiefs for the 9 years was plateau, yeah.
Baba. Let me bring it to Prachovo, Maravelis. Prachovo Tuesday.
My brother.
Hey, Prachovo.
I can't say how are you. You just said it. You good, man.
Nakimonat.
Yeah. I hope everyone is good. Mamela, wabona he kereke mbabulechi bar awane gape star sa kereke city. So le team e tla re mina ka star city. Ha re nyake di star tsa over 82 di tla shaitsa di lwa kere.
Marawa ka jeno le kena ka di bomb fela mara passion.
Mamela. Yeah. Now what I said kitse James Akel Bulema in your head. Sundowns in Trophy 1, Pirates in Trophy 1. My case in Trophy 1, Chiefs in Trophy 1. Yeah, Libuele Khutla, baba. But another thing, interesting for Nane. Guys, we must start to think and look deeper.
Yeah.
You understand? I think Steve Khompela has got some better men on his side.
Yeah, but
I really want to think in that way. I mean, this was the time it was supposed to show to say how important it is for the coach to come with his own technicality. Plus, have one from South Africa or one that has been around the team for quite some time, to guide him. And did you see any contribution from Steve Khompela without saying anything from where they were sitting, but watching the game? You understand? Could you see something that says Steve has got to do with everything with what is happening right now? Okay. You understand? I don't think he guided the coach. I think he agreed and supported the coach in whatever he had in mind. You understand? Because of those, you know what made me laugh yesterday? I look at the team sheet. The bench. It was very stronger than the starting 11, and not in terms of one supposed to say depth.
Yeah,
you understand? But in terms of saying, there was supposed to be a starting 11. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
And they didn't psych the players, but their players were not mentally strong. Some of the players who could see before the starting of the game to say, la nerves.
Yeah.
You understand? I finished already. You understand? So, I said 10 things I was winning, man. I didn't come easy. You understand? I think Unenzwati can on his own. Having him coming to the game, you understand? Coming to the game, as you comparing a game here Saturday, you understand? Look at coach with PSG. You understand? He fooled them ngokubeka uDembele ku9, but knowing Dembele is still going to operate from the left. You understand? He just rendered that right back useless so he can freely go forward thinking to say, I've got nothing to worry. And most of the goals, they came from his side.
Yeah.
It's a plan. You understand? There was no plan. You could see somewhere bafuna depend on individual brilliance. You understand? And of which players with individual brilliance, they were not there in the pitch, they were at the bench. You understand? Kumbula Pitso would tell you to say, at this stage, especially like Ilike Seyophela, you understand, playing semi-final, CAF to the final, you don't need a good football.
Okay.
You don't need to play good football.
Mm,
You
mm,
understand? This is where you remind your players to say how deep they can dig. You understand?
But then, Pratoma, on that point, just for the last 30 seconds here, on that point, you know, people are calling for Chambers One, they're calling for all of these players. Sundowns has played an ugly game to get them to final, as everybody keeps pointing out. Don't you just continue with that ugly game and say, you know what, guys, let's not make it exciting. We haven't made it exciting tournament yonke. No.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And that was the trap. That was the trap. You understand? And they couldn't see it from the first leg. You understand? They allowed him to have the ball. You understand? And the second time around, they played as if they wanted him to make the ball, but they did what normally create discomfort on Sundowns. Play first man on the ball. Make sure Guti, where it matters most for them to play, they can't play. But from the back, they can play. As soon as they start to jump to the midfield, they start to pounce on them, and very hard. Do you understand?
Okay,
So I encourage. I'm with the notion of Guti. They still need to look for a coach, and at this time, I think to say this, Oti, everyone needs to understand how important it is to have a coach with his all technical team. Don't say you must meet with one from South Africa. Let the coach come with his own technical team. If I fail, I wasn't listening.
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bracho, what time, Bracho?
Sharp, mate.
Let me bring it to Tuzile. Tuzile, welcome to the show. How are you? Let me see if I just can't help. Tuzile, can just unmute there. Okay, let's go. Yeah, there we go. Ngiyakuzwa.
Kunjani bhuti wami?
Mina ngimnandi mara ngizwa abantu bayakhala. Uthini ngale game?
Yeah, the game, it was a good game for Pyramids and a poor game from Mamelodi Sundowns. The first half, noma uyibukela, mekungathi iPyramids egu backlog. Mekungathi ngathi iPyramid in the upper hand. These guys, they were attacking.
Yeah.
Sundowns may observe the pressure and lapho sekwenza ukuthi ukhwefile ama tactics ka coach Cardoso ukuthi na ku Ahly he did the same thing. He wanted to react. Akusumuntu ofuna ukuthatha igame. After Ahly ikora i1 goal, that's where he wanted to react to team. Atshela ama player ukuthi, okay guys, let's go and score.
Yeah.
Same thing enzakalile izolo Sunday. First half, tell your guys, siyadliwa. The 1-1, it's a separation. Labantu laba baya win. Let's go out there and score it. Let's score first, then get relax. But nungene lapho tshela ukuthi guys relaxani, and what did these guys do? Bakwaqala by kill the game. So to me ngifila ngathi coach Cardoso like mele ama tactics wakhe mele aqale nje like awabheka ukuthi ucoach Sundowns akacoach iBaroka. Sundowns it's a big team ifuna iCAF. Right? Then ngizwa nange team selection yakhe. If Moibera the game, even if Adams, I love that boy. But Adams kuma semi-finals, go first leg, na go second leg, ngifila ngathi amsindile lama game. Like ngathi maka overwhelmed, maka ngakajwayeli kahle. You have abantu who've been into that stage, abo opas on the bench. Okay. They know how it feels like to play. Kuleso stage leso la abadimanda khona kakhulu. But ubabhenchile uMatthews first leg umfaka for 20 minutes uyamkhipha, but second leg uyamthemba futhi umdlalisa the whole half. To me it's like ngenzakalani lapho enye kutshengisa ukuthini ucoach Cardoso nama game in South Africa, he doesn't watch them because if mawabukela at least mazomguide ukuthi look at Umrena. Every time South Africa mayidinga usizo ukuthi Umrena uHugo umsebenzisa kanjani.
Yeah.
You can't make a change Umrena. We thinking, okay, now it's time to attack. Aboma ufaka Umrena ke kitchen. Uthatha Umrena umbeke move. Like why ke moyenza leyo change leyo? It doesn't make sense. kumele South Africa ubheke ukuthi okay uHugo Bruce makasebenzisa these players and umren abheke ukuthi umren una how many goals ku-South Africa, how many assists. So like ama-tactics ka-Cardoso, I don't know, awekho mahle. Enye
Does
into,
he
right now,
does he get a second chance?
no, akavayi.
Oh.
Because yena washo awuthiyami wathi yena uyi-defensive coach.
Yeah.
Uze ku-Sundowns azosiza nge-defensive. So attacking akayazi nhlobo, wazishela lo muntu lo.
Marukore 100 goals. More than anyone.
Defensive. So ngicela ukubeka ngale point leli ukuthini.
Okay.
I-Sundowns right now ingena ku-phase ye-Real Madrid. Imali yabo yezobabulala. Because they have all this money. Bazitshela ukuthini bona they buying ama-quality players. Mawuthi uyabheka ku-Sundowns, their best players, they are not even that expensive. Tebuko Mokwena is not akekho expensive. Thembazwane, he's not expensive. Umdawu, he's not expensive. All their best players, they're not expensive. But bahambile, and uma ungabheka Sunday into eyenzakalile. Wonke lama player lawo expensive, bawadlalisile. Angene wonke abomthiba, abo Adams, Matthews, Aliende, Rebecca, they bonke badlalile. And their best players babafake ebhenchini abayenzeleni. That's what the Real Madrid they face out right now. They buying all these players, but bayadideka ukuthi ngizobadlalisa kanjani. You have your best players ebhenchini, but mina ngiyazibuza ukuthini, okay, maybe ama-agents, ama-contracts bashile ukuthini, hey, mina player lami njoba dura kanje alidlale 80% of the games.
Yeah.
80 what? Because their players are expensive ku-Sundowns who are playing, but they don't deserve to be on the starting 11. Or baze badlale nje nhlobo.
For time, I'm going to jump in. Guys, please continue tapping the screen. We're almost at 30,000. Can we get to 30,000? Thank you to Juzile. But for time's sake, I'm going to bring in Pilani. Pilani, how are you doing? Welcome.
The pattern is complete.
Yeah, Banna. The pattern is complete.
My conspiracy theory has come true. That's what Tyler on the 9th of May, before the Nedbank Cup final. That's what I'm going to say. Whatever happens, there's going to be tears for a specific team. This is what I foresaw. And I saw this, and funny enough, I saw this pattern the moment Pirates got knocked out by AS Pyramids. You want to know why?
Yeah.
Here's the pattern. Pirates and Sundowns have taken part in four domestic cups.
Yeah.
From those 4 domestic cups, they've shared at least 50% chance in reaching the final.
Yep.
So this was the pattern. MTN 8, Pirates reaches the final. Carling Cup, Sundowns reaches the final. Nedbank, Pirates reaches the final. CAF Champions League, Sundowns reaches the final. So obviously from the get-go, Pirates and Sundowns have been the top 2 most performing teams. So more or less it was going to be a given.
Okay.
But that's where it kind of stops. But then I've been seeing coincidences and it's been very funny. In the case of Pirates face Stellenbosch, Pirates face Chiefs. Coincidentally, those 2 teams knocked out Sundowns to get to the final.
Okay.
And both teams beat Sundowns by at least 2 goals.
Yeah.
On Sundowns' side, which has been very funny, Sundowns faced Makesi and Sundowns has faced Pyramids. Now this is where for me it got a bit funny because in Makesi and Pyramids have had like a few things in common. First of all, both teams are first-time participants in their respective tournaments.
Yeah.
That's one. Secondly, both teams beat Pirates both teams beat Sundowns in the final with the same score line. 2-1.
Okay.
Thirdly, both teams beat Pirates, knocked out Pirates also with the same score line, which was 3-2. So when I saw that game, I want to go to something's very funny. Something is very funny. The football gods have been cooking, and they've cooked.
But then I now I want to ask you about another pattern. Sundowns always goes out like this. Sundowns always, it's a mistake, it's a this, it's a that. How do they fix the pattern? How do they break the chain?
It's a mentality thing for me.
Yeah.
I think in here with regards to Sundowns, because Sundowns, this pattern here, but Uguti, they're losing in the finals. It has been carrying them over like since 2022, 2023. Even under Rulani, same thing. So I think it's more of like a mentality issue.
Yeah.
Where I forgot which live you mentioned Uguti. Dentlade once mentioned Uguti. In the MTN8 final in Pirates, the veterans at the time, when Morocco Swallows tied 1-1, their heads were sunk down.
Mm.
And then Dentlade came up with that winning mentality.
Mm.
You know, so I think Sundowns needed that winning mentality, and I think right now Sundowns actually needs someone who has won like the CAF Champions League as a player, not as a coach.
Oh,
Because
wow. Okay.
the coach can only do so much.
You
know, so it's one thing to win the CAF Champions League as a coach. It's a whole different ballgame to win the CAF Champions League as a player, because those dynamics are different. There are certain like intricacies that the player can see that the coach can't even see now. Whether it's at the pressure of the game itself, because they're within that pressure.
Yeah.
So for me, I think Sundowns, Konamanje, they're in a rock and a hard place, and Konamanje, they're on like a certain crossroad where they do not know where to go, because they went all in. Cardoso, thinking Cardoso will get them over the line.
Okay. But for time, I'm gonna jump in. Let me bring you Maronza. Maronza, welcome to the show.
Oti, good evening.
Why ningathathanga ama notes wenu from playing pyramids now ayise chlorcop man nabanceda lapha?
Oti, there's a song, ne? A political song. As it's wenze nuzwane kauphendu wenu yas. Ile propaganda lele lisayiniwe lele propaganda lele. Oti, that's a proper. I told you. Oti, you can't fix something which is not broken, bro.
Yeah.
You can't fix something which is not broken. Let's be honest. Let's go back to all the games that Sundowns lose in SA alone.
Yeah.
That is the same game that Sundowns was playing on Sunday.
Okay.
All right? All the games.
Yeah.
All the games that they've lost, all the goals come from the left-hand side, which means they have a problem on the left, but it's not been fixed. They've been signing players
from last season.
From last season, OT, they go and get somebody, Matibe, whoever, or Matibe, or whatever, a striker. They didn't look for a left back, right?
Yeah.
They didn't look for a left back. And if you check on Pirates, we have 30,000 left backs, which is, you can see what you Conte wrong, Conte Hamba.
Yeah.
OT, I'm still saying this, OT. There's one thing that I've noticed about Sundowns. There's something that I've learned. OT, when you play them what they don't use to play, they get confused. That is the Sundowns I saw on Sunday.
Yeah.
If you don't give them what they don't want, they get confused. Now, let's go back to the 18 teams, 16, 15 teams in the PSL, right? Only 2-3 teams play Sundowns the way they play on Sunday, right?
Okay.
And Sundowns, they're too comfortable in the PSL. But if you give them what Pyramid give them on Sunday to be uncomfortable, they lose the game. All the games that they lose in PSL is because they were uncomfortable. If you give them the comfort, they will beat you. They will beat you. So now, this goes. Listen to the after game
the coach pyramid.
Yes, talking. He said we knew Sundowns was going to come and bring this. They bring this every time. So for them, for us to win, let's make them not to be comfortable. Simple as that. You beat Sundowns. Right? And I still say, if he had brought in Timbers one, even if it was 5 minutes, that guy has something within him. Look at the game. I think at Loftus, the semi-final, right? 10 minutes, 20 minutes to go. Zwane stand up, warm up, the stadium erupt. Right? He came in, changed the game. Simple as that.
Okay.
I think two guys said it. Why did you put him in the semi-final if he changed the game twice in the semi-final? Did you not believe in him in the last 20 minutes? Are you saying Zwane is not fit to play 20 minutes? Are you saying Zwane is not fit to play in the last 10 minutes? Are you telling us that? Now, coming back.
Very quickly.
If it was me, Oti, that guy, when he comes in, he lost the Nedbank Cup. He lost the what do you call it? The Champions League.
Okay.
When we came back here tomorrow we pick his bags and go. Simple as that. Why, if it is the South African coaches, listen, Oti, why if it's South African coaches, when they lose a cup and then they have to go, but if it is somebody from outside must be stay because he must be comfortable, there's nothing like that. He needs to go because Rulani he lost the what do you call it, a cup, and then was gone. Manova lost against Magezi, he was gone. Why he? Why is he not given? Rulani said it one time, OT, my last week. He said, give me 4 seasons. He says, give me 4 years. Why didn't he was not given those chances?
Okay. But for time, I need to jump in for time. Guys, please tap the screen. If you have not tapped the screen, please send some gifts. If you have not sent some gifts, shout out to Noko, shout out to Mujofela, Malume Kutso, Snoko, Kemang Dadamani, Dadaman, when last day, Pablo, Papa Josi, Scott Malume, Sakra, and Kapelani. Thank you guys so much for that. And Paul right now. Okay, guys, we're moving into the last part of the show. So it's going to be the last panel, 25 minutes. I'm going to start off with Kutsiso. Kutsiso, welcome to the show. Tell me how you feel about the game.
How are you, my guy?
I'm off season even. I'm hugging the Nedbank Cup every night.
What a question to start a night. A very disappointing weekend, a very disappointing game.
Yeah.
From someone who we thought he will bring the glory at the Glory Cup.
Yeah.
But he became someone who had us more than a sharp knife. You know, I always say, how it was magaeng wena OT o tsene sekolo ka mo toropong. Le go tšea o sa tsebe mmetse mara wa go e tla gae wa go tšea le gore bana ba le ba tšea di 0 wena o tšea 5. You are the best. Going to the game, like the plan was we must go there and finish them. And he knew that the Pyramids will never sit back or play that football of we are defending. They knew it very well that we need to strike Sundowns so that we can frustrate them.
Okay.
I was telling the people who I was watching game with, I said to them, if Pyramids can push it to 20 minutes, but Sundowns, they must forget about the game.
Yeah.
we had a chance where Lord, we can glorify everything, we can change everything. Besides what happened in Pretoria, we drew 1-1. Okay, it's something that it happens, but going there, the coach should have been well informed. Or guys, this is the last thing that I must do. I must bring everything. When I was checking at the lineup, I was so disappointed. You know, in rugby, they say you don't win the match with the starting 11. You are winning the game with the bench.
Okay.
In rugby, there's something called the bomb squad.
Bomb squad.
When we talk about the bomb squad, it means that the people that are on the bench are the one that you're going to bring them when it's hard. But Cardoso, my first question was, okay, Mudiba did the mistake there. He allowed the cross to come in. But if you can check from the position where Maela was, he was marked by Ulibusa. When he turns, Atlorela Libusa there. Then when he goes to halftime, why did he brought out Mudiba? I mean, he brought in Wabarga Malunga because of Mudiba did that mistake. If he wanted or okay, Kenyaka Otlisha Lunga Atsenegara apere le grand kekan. Okay, now this one you're getting Kikitsebe or Kakwa Masai think is right. I understand that Mudiba was going beat Ayapi Linyana, and then he left too much space there. Mara, one thing that it was surprising, or I said to those guys, Kar, look at the bench. We don't have offensive players. When the pyramid can score one, then we're going to attack them.
Okay.
We didn't have the legs of Mayema, the legs of Mkulisi, those offensive players who will win the match for us. The first mistake he did was to take Mudiba out. The second mistake was to substitute late. Now you are 1 hour. Matthews, it's not giving you anything. Agents, it's not even giving you anything. We lacked the forward passes. Look at the goal. Look at the pocket pass. Elo Ribeiro came in, collected the ball. Afa Matthews. We were playing different dimension football, and it's not the first time, but it is the first time we see Sundowns playing on the high line. We are playing on the high balls. We are playing on the counter attack. When did you saw Sundowns playing on the counter attack?
Okay.
For me,
very quickly.
For me, when I wrap up, for me, the guy had a chance to redeem himself, go Cairo. But what he did, he disappointed us by not bringing Umshishi, by not bringing Shalulile in time. You know that this guy...
very quickly, they've got 10 seconds.
He is like a computer. When they say Shalulile and Reinas, the forward line is not working. But now for me, as the management of Mamelodi Sundowns, I would say he has got his chance. Tomorrow, Rabbi Tagamoki, time.
Time. Let me go.
Kwaphuma ukhutsiso kwangena ukhutso.
Kiplenile.
Let people vent, Mr. OT. I think you need a part 2 tomorrow. Ngiphe number yama request.
Balina. Therapy.
Badinga ukubhodla, Mr. OT. And it's okay, Mr. OT. I just want us to think, Mr. OT, and say, is it possible for you to put your best foot forward and still lose? Yeah, I understand. Before people react hastily, is it possible? This
It's possible.
Mamelodi Sundowns lineup has been giving people Lama4. That RMR, that Jaden Adams, Ayende Mokwena, the Adams who should have signed to win the league apparently as the Pirates. Kuluso Motaung, best king right back, and the best goalkeeper. You understand? And removing the Suarez over Costa, you know? They did put their best foot forward. Tembazwane is one of the best players, but I don't think he would constitute, in terms of recent history, Mamelodi Sundowns' best foot forward. And of course, it doesn't help the fact that the coach is being pressured. I think a lot of men would find it difficult to just conform after being bullied.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
You would just want to react and be like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And further to his defense, this is not the first time coach has resigned. Okay, it's fine. I'm just seeing a feed from Robert. Maybe it's about a different coach. But anyway, but yeah, this is not the first time Tembazwane misses an important game for his Sundowns. Even the previous coach says a lineup was submitted to him. If you are Kumbula, I'm not saying even Maj a lineup was submitted, but I'm just saying maybe someone who has authority does not fancy Utembazwane, you understand? And the coach, luckily for him, the player was injured throughout the season, so he could build without that stress. Now, let's move the goalpost a bit to Orlando Pirates. Who would you say, apart from Rele Mufokeng, would be our Tembazwane? They may not be
Saleng, most probably.
Okay, I wouldn't say Saleng. I would go for Utito.
Okay.
As more of an influential figure.
Oh, I thought you meant impact. Okay. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
And you understand. We went to Pyramids, and when we were qualifying, we introduced Utito, no Shenko, to stabilize the game, and it didn't work. So to be married to the King theory that introducing Tembazwane would have meant to which Sundowns lifts the trophy it's not substantiated by fact or by reality. You could have still introduced him and lost. So I think the Mamelodi Sundowns board has to take a step back, calm themselves down. They must fire Cardoso, not because he lost, but because it's an error, a judgment, to bring him in. Unfair on him and unfair on the team. Their philosophies we all questioned when he came in, which as in it doesn't match. And then he gave a PR answer of quality players. He didn't have those players. I looked at the team he came from, like the budget. Etimo is much bigger. I think you are undermining the coaches who coach these players. You think it comes naturally to Labafan, not knowing some of these players were playing for Abo Super Sport, Abo Black Leopards, who played Scope and Donor. I understand. So you think it comes naturally, which by no keep ball, and it's not the case. I understand. So I think Sundowns needs to take a step back and be like, let's find an African coach, like by African, not necessarily of African origin, but a coach who is familiar with the African space, who is a big coach, but is able to fit into the Mamelodi Sundowns way of playing so that when we lose, because clearly the fans care about how we lose. When we lose, we don't get a backlash, which we weren't playing the football we wanted, blah, blah, blah. But Mr. Wisnyabon, but it's fine.
You now 14. No, I counted it.
Mr. Uti. I like Masandawan.
Thank you, whatever. So let me go to Coach Samu. Coach Samu, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm Sanbonani.
I'm right, man. How do you feel about this game?
Okay, I wanna ask you something.
Okay.
And everyone in the comments and panel, do they watch football as a fan or as a manager too, like in their mind? Because in the things I'm hearing is it's very sad. I'm a coach. When you get into that business, there's a world whereby you have to think as a coach and you think as a fan.
Yeah.
The sad part is that we are thinking as fans.
Okay.
The first thing is that we must consider the fact of it's a technical team era. It's not a coaching era. It's a tactical team era. It's Flamingberg who costed his Sundowns, not Cardoso. Cardoso played his tactics and put it on. And I always ask Amasanda one of this thing is that which formation do they know? Do they play 4-3-3? Do they play 3-5-2? Because in that game, he played a 4-2-3-1 with Allende and who's this guy? Allende and Mokwena. And that's six. And that's six. It's either one is going, one is staying. But both of them were going. And they were passes. That's why I'm still saying, and you are right by saying this, Pyramids won that game not because of Nje. Pyramids won that game by executing everything that they needed to do. They played a 4-4-2 in every way and a very simple way. A 4-4-2 is the hardest formation to attack and to defend. That's the hardest thing to do. As a coach, I know for myself, it's the hardest one. Because there's no one in that midfield. Trairo was controlling Allende no Mokwena. People were not even seeing that. But the sad part is that we are looking at it as a fan perspective. Yes, we can complain about Uzwane was not there. But how can you say Katoso put on Uzwane, but he didn't play the whole season? You came in mid-season with the research that you did, because you don't just go. I won't be signed by Pirates and demanded by answers. No, I have to go research by my own self. That's the thing that people are not seeing. And that's young aura, because one day I'm gonna coach Pirates. And the sad part is that we'll find fans like this and they will be complaining and saying this. No, Coach Samu did this, Coach Samu did this. And it's not me. The sad part is that that's the football that, yeah.
I know. I want to ask you, as a coach, tell me a little bit then. What type of pressure does the Zwane situation put on you? What type of pressure does the occasion? Do those things all come together? And do you think that maybe that's something that Cardoso had to deal with as well, on top of what you're saying?
I would say the Zwane one is like this. It's an influential play. You can never silence an influential play. It's what happened with Manchester United 2020 with Erik ten Hag. You cannot silence a big player. The momentum of the team is going to go down regardless what you do. It's either you play him on or you don't. And the sad part is that they didn't trust him. They trusted him over Adams. And I've never seen Adams as a number 10. I don't know why people are playing him as number 10. He has always played a 6 and an 8. Understand? The sad part is that. The sad part is that I'm seeing that they complain about Mutiba. Mutiba was that's where I'm also saying that's a very bad mistake from the team. Mutiba played. I don't know why Mutiba ngenile. And I was like, Mutiba on a final. That's very not healthy. In that false 9. Because if people saw it really, they were playing a 3-5-2 with two right midfielders, Umurena, Nomutao, adding that width, and also Divine Lunga. They were not playing a four at the back now. They were not. It was either Umukwena staying at the back just to stabilize everything because they've just conceded and need that goal. And Allende was every time pushing. That's why I'm saying they played a 3-5-2 with Mutiba there. Why anga kipanga ge Ushaulile? Because they say Ushaulile got in the last minute. Why anga ngensa Uzwane? Played him as that false 9. Asizu Shasha, because Shasha is a critical man up front. He knows what he was. Despite the Formiaki, this is not there. Who to blame then? That's the sad part about coaching.
But for time, I'm going to jump in. I think this is an interesting conversation because I do want to get coaches in. And I want you guys to speak about some of the stuff. But just for tonight, this time, we're going to make it one of the topics as we go along. Let me bring in Football Agent. Football Agent, welcome to the show. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. Yeah, no, a man once said football will kill you real death.
A real
I
death.
think, no, I'm going to speak about the first thing, as a fan, firstly. First of all, I like to appreciate and congratulate Sundowns for reaching the final. It's a big achievement. I said it last time that whether Sundowns win or don't win, it doesn't matter because reaching the final is an achievement on its own, which we should celebrate. You understand? And then secondly, not only did they represent the southern of Africa, they also put South African football on the map. You understand? Which is something that we shouldn't take lightly. We should celebrate it every time. Now, there are a few things that I want to highlight that I feel like we maybe we could have done better or we could do better next time anyway. I said it before that Sundowns has only one style of play. And I said to you, OT, that style of play for Sundowns is not created to win you the cups. And I'm going to repeat it again. The style of play that Sundowns is playing is not meant to win cups. Why? Because they are playing long game. They are playing long game. You understand? So let's look at this. Let's look at this tournament. If it was a league or based on points.
Point system, yeah.
By the time Sundowns plays Pyramid, they could have led Pyramid maybe by 6 or maybe by 9 points. You understand? But this one is a cup game. Now, this is where it becomes interesting. You are playing a cup game. You knock the ball around. The opposition doesn't have to press you. You understand? You score the first goal. The opposition doesn't need to press you. They just need one goal.
Yeah.
You understand? So that's where now it becomes interesting. Now, this is what I said to another person. I said, Sundowns needs to find 2 styles of play. You cannot play one style of play throughout. At some point, it's going to catch up with you, which they are doing, and it's already catching up with them. You understand? Now, I said it before, tactically, the coach did everything correctly. He put all the Sundowns players. The only player that he did not put is Mushishi, which I don't think is much of a big deal because I don't think even if Mushishi was there, they were going to win this game anyway because of how Pyramid were just closing them down and everything. Now, this is what I said. Adams is playing at the center with Mokwena. Adams is not supposed to play at the center because if Adams is at the center, Alente does not play. Ribeiro does not play. You understand? Mokwena cannot push forward. I said it last time. When did we last see Mokwena taking those long range shots? No, he cannot because Adams is not helping him mark. So he has to drop back. When he drops back, then it means I don't even understand the role of Adams, guys. Can someone enlighten what is the role of Adams in the center? He does not take passes. He does not mark. He does not. But anyway, let me continue because I want to wrap something up. Now, this is how Pyramids won. Strength, experience, and height. That's what won Pyramid the game. You understand? That's what they all knew that they have to do it so well. They will bully you. They will cross the balls. They will find half spaces. They will press you when they have to, and they won the game. And that's what I always said. Teams from North Africa, they always rely on strength, they rely on height, and then they rely on pressure and have chances. And that's how they won the game. Thank you, OT.
How do we fix it? Very quickly, 30 seconds. How do we fix it as South Africans? Because besides that, it always feels like the South African teams go out the same way, whether they're playing beautiful, ugly, whatever they come in with, it seems like they lose the same way. And it seems like also they don't focus for the whole game.
Each and every PSL or South African team needs to have 2 styles of play. You cannot have one. They must find 2 styles of play. 2 formations that if this one does not work, I need to, or the next game, when they are playing on this style, I'm going to implement this style and then confuse the opponent. But all South African teams, 1 style of play, so we know how to close them down, then you are done.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let me bring in Taita. Taita, welcome. Taita. Oh, wait. Just try again. Sorry there. That was my fault. Taita.
Yes,
there
Mr.
we go.
Oti.
Taita, welcome, man. How do you, welcome to the show. How do you feel about this game?
Hey, bro. Hey, yes, I was so disappointed, my bro.
Why?
Yes. Yo, our coach, the way he approached the game, man. Like, I could see from the very first minute, Guti, we keep passing the ball back.
Yeah.
About the back pass is predictable. Trying to engage a Kekana, goalkeeper,
Yeah.
Modiba, Modao. Like there were no like tens, like those in midfield passes. Like those tens, we needed those tens just to create spaces behind. Once these
Yeah.
people were pressing us, once someone is pressing you, you pass back. Once someone presses you, you pass back. Predictable, one-way thing, all the way, bro. And it was so frustrating. That's where I saw Ezwane carrying the ball, turning, eliminating one with just a 10. Yeah. But instead, we're just playing one way, back passes. Teboho, when he tries to play, he kicks it back to Kekana. Kekana, like all day. And the coach, the Pyramids coach, that guy is clever, man.
Yeah.
I saw even at Loftus here, during the first leg, like he changes the way the team plays every now and then. They'll sit back for a couple of minutes, and then they'll come out and play and possess the ball, and you'll see these guys are good and comfortable on the ball.
And to your point, there was a time when Pyramid started sitting back. It's almost like they were trying to get to halftime or something. And he was screaming at those players like, hey guys, why are you sitting there? Why are we going back?
Exactly. So those guys, they know when to play those crosses, when to play those long crosses into the area. And that's where we struggled. And again, Allende on the second leg, Allende was no way. Like in the first leg, Allende struggled like completely. But surprisingly, he's played 90 minutes. I was like, no, man, Mokwena, I saw Mokwena trying here in the middle, but 50-50 balls, Allende will lose them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but 50-50 balls. He was bullied, like they'll shove him off the ball. Yeah, but, and we'll expect a foul. And the referee wouldn't whistle. You see, so I think okay, people are mad at Cardoso. I understand, but I think we're gonna give him another season, another try. I understand he can reach another final. He's capable of that.
But can I ask you something? I want to ask you something. Yeah. Now we've seen Cardoso score 100 goals in a league season. Yeah. We've seen him get the most wins in the league. We've seen him get to a Champions League final. Last season, we saw Rulani. Rulani was almost invincible. He won the AFL. We've seen Sundowns do well all of these years. Is it really a big thing that needs to change at Sundowns? Or what is it that Sundowns needs to do in order to get over the hill? Because, I mean, you got to a final of Champions League. Cardoso didn't do badly this season in terms of the standard of where Sundowns has been. How does Sundowns get over?
I think for me, we need to give Cardoso another season. Okay. And then we need to be patient. Like, we need to, we're getting there. We see how we're mastering this African continent, these teams. We're gonna get over this hurdle, bro. I'm telling you. Once we master it, we can win the Champions League 3 times in a row. Mark my words.
Maran, for 9 years you've been saying that, Mar.
Yeah, okay, I understand. For 9 years, you see, we now understand the continent, man. We are feared in the continent. I feel like next season, bro, we're gonna break this thing.
Okay. For time, I'm going to jump in, guys. The show is about to end. If you came in late and you want to know what we were speaking about, just search up Overthinking Football Show on YouTube. All of the lives are there. But then also my podcast is out. I have a podcast episode now out where I speak about Cardoso's future, where I speak about Tembazwane possibly being a distraction for the team at some point. I speak about a whole bunch of things in my podcast episode that is available in full on YouTube. And then also I've got my short form content that I'm dropping everywhere else. Now, all I want to say, guys, for me is the problem is not the coach. The problem is not the players. The problem is not whoever, because now we've seen Coach Pitso, he won one, at least Coach Pitso. We've seen Coach Bangoba, we've seen King, the three wise men, we've seen co-head coaches, we've seen Rulani on his own, we've seen Timan Cardoso now. My thing that I see with Mamelodi Sundowns is that institutionally, this CAF Champions League is on their minds too much. This CAF Champions League has become their god. Somebody said it. It's become their god. And the problem is that when you want to now go and get that thing, you overthink. My issue about last game, honestly speaking, was that Sundowns didn't show up. You're expecting Sundowns to fight. Like you're expecting, okay, lose. Go ahead and lose. Maradalani. And we only saw that for maybe the last 20 minutes where they were trying. Unfortunately, they couldn't get it in, but they were getting into the box. The ball was falling. They were taking shots. They were doing all of those things. They were just happened to be unlucky at that time. But go ahead and show us that you want it. You know, Mamelodi Sundowns, a very great point was brought up in the panels. Mamelodi Sundowns does this in finals. It's not the first final that Mamelodi Sundowns has lost like this. Forget about the Champions League. Think about 90 plus what or 80 what minute with Tumfuke. Think about the times when Pirates has beaten them. Think about Imakesi that beat them in the Carling knockout. Think about Chiefs. There's something about knockout competitions that Sundowns is not attuned to. But then another thing for me is that, like, mentally, this is where you need to show. Do you know the difference between Mamelodi Sundowns and Pyramids was? I'll say it again. I think Pyramids was living in the moment and saying, guys, we are new to this thing. We're going to just play the way that we play. Don't try think. Don't try be too smart. Don't try do whatever. We're just going to come out and play our game fully 100% committed, and we're going to die on that pitch. I've asked, yo, Mamelodi Sundowns fans, I know you guys hate it, but I've asked, does Sundowns need the Champions League? Like Pyramids needed the Champions League yesterday, like Ahly needs the Champions League. Are you willing to go all out and do those things? Or are you going to be the team that's always in the conversation, always there, but it just doesn't go and win it? Do you have it in you? The Champions League is not won by tactics. The Champions League is not won by outplaying. It's not won by dominance. It's not won by any of those things. If you watch any of the finals over the past few years, you'll notice that, guys, it's moments and mistakes. And unfortunately, for some reason, Sundowns makes mistakes when they get there. And to be honest with you guys, when you watch Mamelodi Sundowns get there, for me personally, when you've seen it 1 year, it's one thing. But when you've seen it consecutively, where it's those things that chow you every time, I think now you have to look at the pattern and take it seriously and say, guys, why is it that we can't focus for 90 minutes? Or 90 plus 7 or 100 minutes. Why can't we focus for that long? Why do we give it away? I remember they had a mistake on the right hand side. When I tried to pass it back, like so good back, and there's no one there. And you're like, guys, what's happening? What's happening? My mic, guys, when I start speaking about things, all of a sudden, my mic starts doing things. Wait, let me see. Am I good? Am I okay now? Hey, sorry. So you watch this and you see Mamelodi Sundowns go through this every single year. And I'm like, all right, guys, something needs to change. Kekana's making mistakes, and Vala was making mistakes, these ones making mistakes. Something needs to happen there. To be fair to Sundowns, all I want to say, to be fair to Sundowns, let's be real. It's their second final. The final is not the same as the semi-final, it's not the same as the quarterfinal. A final after 9 years of going and trying and going and trying and going and trying, all of that plays into your head. In fact, I've said that Sundowns would have been more comfortable playing Ahly. But you know what these tournaments tend to do? The moment you get comfortable with something and you think you've got it, you've got the answer. Trust me, I'm an Arsenal fan. We go through this every year. The moment you think you've got an answer and you're like, yeah, next year we're going to do something, watch another random team come up. Watch another team that plays completely differently, which is why I say they need to figure out what's happening inside. I told you guys, as I'm closing, I told you guys last week, from the week, I have never seen Mamelodi Sundowns, you guys act like this. Fans, club, I've never seen. People are laughing when I said it on Friday. I said on Friday that I've never seen you guys shake like this. I've never seen you guys, all of you are now trying to find answers to problems that don't exist. And now Tembazwane is an option and must be started. Mara, now you want to go back to Rulani football and do this. Focus. The club must focus all the way through. Nani didn't help, to be honest. And lastly, when I speak about Tembazwane being a distraction, I don't speak about Tembazwane being a distraction in a way that he will kill the team. What I'm saying is that from now on, Coach Cardoso, every team that he puts out, happens worse, Club World Cup is starting in 3 weeks. Every team that he puts out, he's going to have to think about Tembazwane and think about the fans, think about what you guys are saying, and Shushan and piano, and da-da-da-da-da, and sales, da-da-da, and all of that stuff for the rest of this time, however long he stays. Now that's a distraction. For example, Mangoba wasn't that bad. In fact, they were scoring at a higher rate during Mangoba's time. But anyway, he wasn't that bad. I know he lost to Makesi and all of that stuff, but other coaches have too. But in any case, Mangoba wasn't that bad. But you know what killed Mangoba? No, how do you bench Mokwena? How do you put down Mudau? How do you do all of that stuff? And it just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. So that's going to be very interesting to watch how they handle that. Apparently, Fleming Berg at the back didn't want to extend contracts. Apparently, allegedly, he didn't want to extend contracts. Governor Fleming, if it's true, I like him because he sees all of these things. If you keep these people around, it becomes tough. You're going to be fighting the ghosts of people's performances from the past. You'll be fighting the talents and the thoughts. We're speaking Kulise, we're speaking Mayema right now. We have not spoken Kulise, Mayema the whole season. But when it gets to crunch time, now people are trying to come up with all of these weird and fancy things. South African teams, that's what kills us. Pyramids played their football. From day 1 to day 100, they played their football. From the first kickoff to the last, they played their football. In that game, the first half, I did not see any of Sundowns' football. Do you know how many times Reynolds made a run on the right-hand side? Where normally, when you guys are playing versus Cheaper, or you're playing versus whoever, there's a pass that gets played all the time. Reynolds was making the same run. I think he made it 3, 4, 5 times. And I'm like, no, they're shaky. Quite shaky. But in any case, guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you want my thoughts, they are available in full on YouTube. Overthinking Football Show. You'll find them there. Sundowns, I'm sorry, Mara, I have to. Okay, Club World Cup is coming up. Hopefully, Mamelodi Sundowns can fix their problems before that, because the Club World Cup obviously has a lot stronger of opposition and everything. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you, my overthinkers. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday is when the live show is on at 7 p.m. So you'll find me here. And then, of course, I drop content almost daily. So please check out the content that I drop. I have an interview with Amanda Dlamini, an incredible interview on YouTube. I also have an interview with Josta Dlata. Please go and watch those things. Please support your views, your likes, your gifts. This is how it keeps us going. And especially if it's a brand thing. I'll always say, I'm just whispering. If you see a brand thing anywhere on my page, like, comment, share, put it on your story. Do those type of things so that we can convince brands to carry on working with us. I'm whispering right now. Amanda Dlamini interview, the Josta interview. I've got other things that are on my pages. Those are all branded. That is how we get people to give us money and fund these things. So please, guys, support. And thank you for supporting up to this point. Guys, oh, wait, one last shout out. Olivia Nukumpo, Mujofela, Malume Kuto, Snoko, Daraman, Pablo, Babahosi, Scott, Kapelani, and Sakra. Thank you so much for the gifts on this live. Guys, bye-bye. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 7.